those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. This is the yearly Tarotscope for the sign of Libra for 2021. So this is a broad spectrum reading for anybody with sun, moon, or rising or heavily placed planets in the sign of Libra. I would consider 3 or more planets to be heavily placed. So if you have 3 or more planets in Libra, you may want to watch this just to get an idea of what your 2021 might be like. These are broad spectrum readings, therefore they're flexible. I'm using 1 card for each month of the year, so it's a 12-card reading. So, describing an entire month in 1 card is sort of hard to do, so you have to kind of take what you need and leave the rest. And if anything of this doesn't make sense, don't worry. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything's wrong or bad. You might just be working on something different. It could be different planetary influences or the houses that your planets are in that could be affecting you. If things do make sense and you do use, watch this video and decide to make decisions in your personal life, those decisions are your own personal experience or are your own personal responsibility, and therefore, you're responsible for them. So don't take anything I say over the advice of, say, anybody that's, a professional in their field, i.e. a lawyer, a doctor, a therapist. Listen to them first and foremost, your own intelligence and intuition beyond that, and then, utilize anything that I may say as forms of support for what you may already know. The other thing I will say is that since this is a year-long reading, it is more apt that there is opportunity for change as we get further out into the year. Any card that you see here or hear about here is up for the possibility of change. We have free will and choice, so we can always, if there's something here that we don't want to see come to pass, or something we want to avoid, we can certainly do so by making choices and changes now to affect outcomes. Okay, so and things get more ambiguous as the year goes further on. So let's see what's going on with my Libras. What do they need to know? Libra. Sun, moon, and rising. All right, so the first card is going to represent for the month of January. So let's see what that is. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Major Arcana, so it's a big kickoff to the year. That's great. I feel like there's a lot of hope in this year. The wheel always sort of pretends to bringing us whatever it is that we're focused on, right? So ideally, it's usually a positive outcome as long as we're in alignment with it. We know that we deserve it. We're feeling positive about it. But if we're looking at things from a negative viewpoint, or we're focusing more on what's not working, we could potentially be attracting exactly that. More frustrations, more fears, more whatever it is we might be choosing to focus on. If we've been focusing on, say, the, more miserable stuff of 2020, let's get off of that. I would say really making a concerted effort to choose our focus in the month of January will probably set the tone for the entire year. I like that the wheel's showing up at the beginning of the year for you guys. I have seen this card in other readings. I think it was actually just in Virgo too, but and then I can't remember what other sign, but it showed up at the end of the month for them, or the end of the year, which made me feel like, okay, so what they're focusing on towards the end of the year will start in 2022. For you guys, I feel like this is sort of our opportunity to kind of set the tone for what we're going to experience in 2021. And the wheel always wants to bring us, whatever's going to benefit us most. But if that is, if we're focused on like frustrations and being pissed and all of that sort of stuff, then we're going to get more of that, only in an effort to show us that we need to release that and let go of it. So keeping that in mind, the wheel can have really positive outcomes and wonderful opportunities to it, but it also can bring its own set of sort of hard lessons. I don't feel that with this. I'm just kind of feeling that I should call that out for any Libras that might be a little bit upset from the year previous, bothered by situations, frustrated or feeling stuck, anything like that. You guys be aware of that and know that if you're giving that stuff attention and if it's screwing up your positive outlook or anything like that, try and shift that as best you can in the month of January, because it will set the tone for the rest of the year. The next card is for February. Oh, I love this. So February is the King of Pentacles. So whatever we are trying to shift, we will. If any of you are feeling a little bit rough and tumble from the year of 2020, the King of Pentacles to me is all about sort of material wealth and abundance, the clear mind and thought around making the decisions to obtain that. If you guys have any goals set for yourself, these two cards together feel very positive in the sense that it looks like we're really focusing on it in a big way in the beginning of the year and in January, and in February we're really actually starting to take steps in clearer thought, clear plans, that sort of thing towards making that happen, bringing that into ourselves and also expecting it, right? I feel like these two cards together feel very empowered. They feel very positive and grounded, right? And ready to work towards whatever it is that Leo may want. I mean, not Leo, Libra may want. So keep that in mind. I feel like this could be a very, the next 2 months after obviously this month will be very productive for you guys. So let's see what March is. Oh, Jesus, March is the death card. So let's just put that to an end, why don't we? So we saw this card in last, what was it? What did I just do? Virgo. It showed up in Virgo's spread too. And there's something about this particular death card here. This cat is not happy. Death is Scorpio energy. To me, it's about, transformation. It's about letting go of anything that's no longer working for us. I think I kind of get this feeling, and I got it in the shuffle too. I don't know if my Libras are really pissed off. Like I was sort of feeling angry with the cards as I was shuffling them, and I don't know if that was Libra energy or if that was mine. But I don't really have anything to be pissed off about right now. So, but when I look at that wheel and the warning that I just gave you about what you choose to focus on, if you're carrying anything from 2020 that isn't like necessarily serving you or positive or good, I think that by March we're really ready to leave anything that's not working for us behind. We're ready to let it go. We're ready to let it die off. We're ready to have it transform into something more positive. And I think that's from sitting with that wheel energy at the beginning of the year. And then the February's King of Pentacles. It's kind of like, okay, where can I be most fruitful? Where can I be most successful? Those are the focuses in those 2 months. And so I think that focus automatically triggers this death card in the sense that we have to let go of the things that aren't focused or aren't working for us, that are standing in our way of having the abundance that we see that's available to us in the wheel and in the King of Pentacles, right? And so if there are some losses in the month of March, don't worry about it. I kind of feel like death is inevitable, right? So it's something that we have to face, even if it is sort of unexpected or sudden for some of you, but ultimately it's for your own highest good, and it's going to be something that will hopefully transform your space. I kind of feel like it will, just with those two lead cards of the wheel and the King of Pentacles, that this loss or this transformation that takes place in March is going to be for your benefit ultimately in the end, even if in the moment it doesn't necessarily feel like it, right? If it feels like a slight upheaval, shock, whatever. Now let's look at April. April is the Three of Pentacles. This is through collaboration, right? This is celebration and collaboration in my mind. This is like doing business and coming, like these three, look at these three cusses. They're hanging out. I just figured this out. They're hanging out around a mouse hole trying to figure out how to get this mouse out so that they can eat. But I love it because it usually portends success, right? Through collaboration, through dealing with others, through looking to others for options or suggestions. This feather's gotta go. It's driving me nuts. So whatever we let go of in March, I think we become open to new avenues and new opinions, new possibilities. This could be, I don't necessarily feel like this is a romantic card, but it could be new friendships, business relations, that kind of a thing. But it's going to help to further whatever those goals are that we have at the beginning of the year, or that we've been like maybe looking at even in late 2020. We need to let go of whatever is sort of also killing us with that death card, in the sense that, like, if there's anything that drains our soul, Libra, let's get rid of it by March. That's kind of the prediction I want to say here. We might need to let it go or let it die off. If it's a loveless relationship or a dead-end job, whatever it is that's kind of draining ourselves, I feel like by March, it's going to be very obvious. We're not going to be able to see beyond it. It's going to be staring us dead, no pun intended, in the face. And in doing that, we'll let it go, hopefully, and then we'll be able to move on to new endeavors, new opportunities, new collaborations with this Three of Pentacles energy. It feels fresh. It feels optimistic. It feels like there's opportunity there. These cats are certainly ready to eat that mouse. There's even an opportunity to kind of tie up loose ends with this Three of Pentacles. Is sort of how I feel in April. And so don't worry about whatever departure or whatever changes are taking place in March. They're going to be for the best. Does that make sense? So let's go to May. And again, we have more Pentacles energy. So this is the Six of Pentacles. This is about enjoying and celebrating those that we love, coming together, sharing with them what we have. We may not have a ton, right? But we have enough that not only can we provide for ourselves, but we can also provide for others, or we can accept their provisions to us and their appreciation of us. I kind of feel like this could be, this Three of Pentacles and this Six of Pentacles energy could be when like Libra starts to get back out into the world, when you guys start. And it's funny too, because I feel like, if I remember correctly, was it Virgo where March felt like maybe when they were going to get more external, maybe something's going to shift, because I kind of feel like this outward flow around March, April, May. All right, so we might find ourselves like more desirous of hanging out with those that we love, caring about people, connecting in that way, and also appreciating them. I do like that there's a build of wealth that's happening here too. Starting with that King of Pentacles, it's like kind of like we need to believe that we can have it, that we deserve it. We need to understand that what we're doing in January is actually setting the course for the year, and then we need to maintain that course. And it looks like we are so far, all the way up until May. May feels very good. Balanced sixes are always a nicely balanced number. And there's an appreciation and a sort of, I would call it like a mild abundance. I wouldn't call it like a 10 of Pentacles or some big overflow, but it's enough and we're content, we're happy, we're enjoying it, right? And we're appreciative and in gratitude of it. And I think those kind of energies also build that within our space. So the next card is for May, June. So June is the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords usually is about kind of being a little bit defeated. It's usually depicted with a bunch of swords in a man's back. Let me look at this for a minute. I kind of feel like this is about us, again, another sort of ending of some sort. Tens always are completions for both us and our environment, those around us, that sort of a thing. I don't want to like be all like negative Nancy. It's just interesting to me that it definitely feels like a struggle of some sort. It feels like maybe some sort of internal conflict, some sort of turmoil. And I feel like it's something that we have to face, that we've maybe been avoiding or not wanting to face. I feel like this is also separate from the Death card. Does that make sense? Where death was something we could not control and we needed to sort of separate from, or it needed to depart and come to an end. This Ten of Swords is something we can control. This Ten of Swords is something that we're hiding, that we're maybe avoiding, that we're not wanting to deal with. Probably something that's mental because it is Swords energy. This is Libran energy too. I will say this is the first air element. I can't think of what the wheel is, what sign the wheel is associated with, but I think this is your first air element card. So this is your home element, but to me, it being your home element, but it being a sort of a negative, quote unquote, negative card, it speaks to the idea that Libra's going to have to do some work here in this month to obtain your balance, to find your balance, to find your completion, to bring something personally to an end, right? That might not be like the Death card. To me feels more like something outside of your control, something that could, like, let's say it's a job, right? You might unexpectedly lose a job in March. The Ten of Swords is more about like our own sort of anxiety or self-doubt, fears that get in our way. This is about us addressing them and coming to an end with them, right? So I feel like there is an empowerment, there is something special and important that could happen here in this month that will benefit Libra, but it's going to kind of be icky, like in the sense that the work is on our shoulders and we have to take it on. We have to do it. We have to face it. We have to close that chapter, close that door, address those issues, whatever they may be. And each one of you Libras might have something different going on, right? Where you might be fearful or doubtful or anxious or whatever it may be, angry, frustrated. But to me, it's like sort of releasing that and letting it go. And I think part of the need to let that go is so that you can continue along this sort of positive trajectory that I see with this, starting with the wheel and going through these pentacle cards. Is like we want to keep that momentum going, but there might be something within us that we need to sort of come to terms with, address, face head on, and put to rest, really. Like finally kind of thing. So then we have the Five of Cups, right? So this is now, we're in July. Five of Cups to me is an interesting card because it is emotions, it is water, right? But it's always about focusing on sort of what we don't have versus what we do. And what we forget here is that this stream is right here, right? So the flow of life is going on like flowing by us. And we could easily take our cups and fill them up in that stream. But this cat is so focused on what he's lost that he's not seeing what he actually has still behind him, the two cups that are behind him. And the fact that he can just go and fill his cups right back up from the stream of life. So for my Libras, I feel like whatever you're wrestling with in the month previous in this Ten of Swords, coupled with the experience from March, right? Whatever loss took place in March that was outside of your control, emotionally, you might be a little bit beleaguered come July. But all hope is not lost. That's the part where it's this river, right, that's flowing. We can refill our cups at any point in time. We can turn around and realize we have two full cups and be grateful for what we do have. And that's some of that Wheel of Fortune theme that we see in the January card, right? It's very big and apparent in January, but it's also sort of like maybe reminding us a little bit through the Five of Cups, like, hey, are we going to put the 3 spilled cups into our Wheel of Fortune, or are we going to put the 2 full cups in our Wheel of Fortune? Like, what are we focusing on here? And that's also, now that I'm saying that, it's kind of also the balance of the scales that represents Libra, right? There might be some sort of a mental, emotional balancing that's coming about for you guys this year so that you guys can feel more grounded, more abundant, more secure, right? That would be all of this Pentacles energy that I'm seeing in these readings and throughout the months, right? And I think that that's all good. I think that even the challenge of death and the Ten of Swords brings us to that state where we have to get more into this Pentacles energy of be feeling grounded and secure and stable, right? That's that Earth energy, which is not complementary to air, which is Libra's natural state, but it will help to you to sort of learn a little bit about this stable, sort of more grounded, slower energy. Does that make sense? Let's go to, that's July, so this would be August. So August is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups usually indicates boredom, sometimes a decision needing to be made. Again, we've got that more emotional energy. It's interesting to me that we see a lot of water, earth that the Libras are dealing with in this year. This is kind of foreign elements to you guys, as far as like maybe not your most comfortable states of being. It's not complementary and it's not the air element. And the air element that you are addressing is in this Ten of Swords. So to me, it might feel like a little bit of a challenging 6 months, or what are we looking at here? We're looking at 8 months here. It could be a little bit challenging. It's not all horrible, but like this series of 3 months here, right through summer, it's requiring Libra to show up in a way that I feel like may not be so much fun. But I do like this tree in this card. I've seen this card once before in one of the other readings, and something about the abundance of all of these pink flowers says to me, not all hope is lost, Libra. That there is like sort of a new dawn is forming after this Four of Cups. Fours always also represents stability, like bringing about some semblance of stability in whatever our situation is. Cups being about the emotions. So through this summertime period of June to August, there might be some mental work that comes first, then emotional work, and then the stabilizing of that emotional work so that we can like sort of bloom again is kind of the message that I'm getting with that tree, right? That Libra, you all can be extremely attractive individuals out in the world. And I think that there's an opportunity to get back to that during the summertime if you don't feel as though you're too caught up in whatever it is that you're having to address, deal with, look at, be challenged by. And I'm going to say this, ultimately what these three cards feel like to me is whatever that is challenging you, or that you are addressing and that you are trying to change and get a hold of, so to speak. It's internal, it's within you. If this doesn't feel like it's outside of you, it feels like it's more within you. It's going to be for your highest good, and it's going to be ultimately, like, I feel like that tree is Libra in that Four of Cups. I feel like that tree is you guys sort of blooming again, maybe at the end of August, when you feel sort of renewed again and hopefully whole and complete. You're able to be seen, and you have a little bit better of an emotional and a mental understanding of who you are and what you are. And it allows you to kind of, I almost want to say like see your own beauty is that tree. I don't know why, I'm just really captivated by that tree. So let's go to, what is that, August? So September. So September is the Six of Cups. Interesting, you got 5, 4, and 6. Again, emotional energy, water energy, but Six of Cups to me is always about sort of taking care of family and the emotional well-being of that. It's like we've got this mother kitten feeding a baby kitten out of a cup. So when I look at this is that sort of gentle, that beauty that we see in the Four, in the tree of the Four. This is you guys like sort of sharing that part of yourself in the month of September. Whatever transpired over the summer, if something does transpire for you, and like I said earlier on in the reading, you know, as we get further out, these things are a little bit more, much more open for change, these cards. So don't expect that it's going to go exactly as I talk about it. But if there is some sort of challenge in the early part of the summer where you are trying to face it both mentally, emotionally, kind of maybe find completions with things and really realize what you have. By August, you start to realize what you have. By September, you start to really, I almost want to say, even though water is not a grounding sort of, I attribute earth element more to grounding, but with this Six of Cups, this fireplace is making me feel warm, cozy. The rock in it is making me feel grounded. So to me, it's like we're grounding in our emotions, we're grounding in what we feel, what we know about ourselves, what we've learned over the summer. We're able to share those aspects of ourselves from a very true place. And those things offer not only ourselves nourishment, but other people nourishment, right? So there's a truth here that I feel like Libra is discovering over the course of these cards, that by September, that truth has become very real for you. And it's about you, and it's about maybe those that you love and sharing that with them, okay? So I feel like there is a deepening of relationships also through the Six of Cups that happens. Let's look at the next card. So we have the Nine of Swords. Libra, get it together. Just kidding. Nine of Swords. It's funny that it falls right underneath that Ten of Swords. Again, the other area where we have air energy for the Libras. This is your home element. Let me look at this for a minute. What is going on here? So we're in October. Let me look at the next card really quick, because I'm kind of drawing a blank, because this feels a little bit roller coastery to me. It feels a little bit sort of, before I flip the next card, it feels like I see the trajectory from this 10 all the way through to the 6. I feel like I understand the route. This 9 feels really abrupt. It feels kind of like out of nowhere. It feels sort of out of left field, because there's such a calmness that I feel here at this month that I don't understand what could disrupt this and what could like raise your hackles or get you so sort of like in the funk again, Libra. And so, because I feel like if anything, we've dealt with this in the Ten of Swords. The Nine of Swords usually traditionally represents like nightmares, worry, fear, doubt, that sort of thing. But I kind of feel like you guys deal with that in the Ten of Swords. So I don't know why that would resurface in October. So I want to look at the next card to kind of see if that helps me to, oh, Jesus. Okay, we've got the Devil. Look at these cats are dressed as rabbits. It's so weird. All right. I'm looking at this and I'm kind of feeling, I feel like these are three separate things, the Devil, Death, and the Ten of Swords, but I feel like it could all be potentially tied to some other thing. Like when the Devil comes in, the Devil always shows us a little bit about sort of where we are, where our Achilles heel is, where our weakness is. He wants us to sort of stay stuck. He wants us, but I feel like that's the gift of the Devil, right? Is he challenges us to sort of look at the things we don't want to see. But I also feel like that's going on in the Ten of Swords. The Death card, I feel like, is something that like is kind of taken from us, or is you know, a transformation that we don't have control over, but it still is sort of a loss. This kind of all makes me wonder, like, where are the struggles for my Libras? Like, are you guys having problems with some sort of back and forth, up and down roller coaster of a life? Yes, we just went through 2020. So yes, that would make sense in feeling not in control, but I kind of feel like you guys can't seem to get control in 2021 either. Every time you guys make strides forward, it feels like something either is lost, falls apart, or we need to address it. Again, also with that Nine of Swords. I don't know why, and it's only until this Devil card shows up as I start to wonder, is there some sort of, you know, are there some of you out there that are dealing with maybe the possibility of addictions or struggles in that way? You could be dealing with your own kind of personal struggles that you might spend this year really trying to grasp and get a hold of. Only because that Nine of Swords feels so abrupt too. It also feels very, you know, it's based in worry and nightmares and things like that. And then when we see the Devil, it's sort of like, boom, it's kind of, we really have to face whatever it is that we've been avoiding. He's not fucking around. Let me look at the last card, because this is, oh, of course, we've got the Ten of Pentacles. I will say this, if any of my Libras are fighting like alcoholism or drug addiction this year, and you're watching this, I feel like the Ten of Pentacles does say that hopefully you will be successful, that your attempts, it's funny, I'm looking at this and I myself am in recovery, so that's something that I sometimes share and I sometimes don't, but and I might be looking at this through my filter of being a recovering person, but I kind of feel like the ups and downs of that, not all of this is attributed straight to our story of that, but if we're struggling with something, that struggle keeps showing itself up throughout the year in different ways, shapes, and forms, right? It may not be the exact same thing each time, but it keeps showing up. Let's say we're not addicted to a substance. Let's say we're addicted to a person. Maybe there's a relationship that like we know isn't great for us, that gets in our way, or there's you know, some sort of activity that we do that just isn't working for us anymore. You know, like maybe we are spending too much money or eating too much junk food at night, you know, and we're gaining weight and we're not happy about it. I kind of feel like when I'm looking at these cards, there's strides that are made this year, certainly with that King of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, even the Cups work that we see through here, the 5 and the 4 lead to the 6, which says to me that like Libra does put in the work this year, Libra does make advances, but then it feels it's kind of got this 2 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of vibe to it. And that's some of this wheel. Like, how clear are we going? Like, and I'm asking you this to ask yourself. It's like, how clear are we on what we want, what we're willing to commit, and what is it that we deserve, right? Are we ready to do the work? I think ultimately, yes, Libra is, but you might get frustrated with some of the experiences that happen in the coming year that sort of jump in your way. And some of these are not necessarily outside influences jumping in your way. It's like Libra getting in their own way. That's the 10 and the 9 of swords, right? The devil and death are sort of, to me, outside of us, but they're big lessons, right? They're things that we have to face. They're things that we have to deal with. They're things that we have to kind of address, cut away, and let go of. Death will automatically cut itself away. The devil we might have to fight with, right? The devil we might have to like really put the screws to, so to speak. Will my Libras be successful? Yes, that 10 of Pentacles says December will be an abundant month. Things will be good, right? Again, we're back in that grounded Pentacles energy. And that's why I kind of feel like for some of you, this could be this weird, wonky, like addiction energy, in the sense that we have all of this grounded Pentacles energy where we're like going back to what's right, what's good, what's grounded. But then we might be slipping back into, like, say, that bad habit. Whatever that bad habit might be for Libra, this might be the year that we have to address it. You know, maybe, and this is just, I'm throwing this out there as a suggestion, maybe 2020 and the pandemic and the isolation and all of that has allowed us 8 months to kind of go over the deep end with something that we didn't really want to become an issue, or we didn't really know was an issue. And now we are in a little deep as we go into 2021. And so when our lives begin to get back to normal, or we start to try and set our lives back to normal with the best of intentions, which we see that here in the wheel, and we see that in the King of Pentacles, we do make some strides, some successes through the 3 of Pentacles, through the 6 of Pentacles, even all of that. But we're forced to face parts of ourselves that are challenging, right? We'll do that work. I feel that's definitely in that 5 and 4 of Cups, but that work is not always easy. Ultimately, I feel like by the end of the year, that 10 of Cups or that 10 of Pentacles feels abundant and good, and we feel reconnected again. But that's also why I'm getting this sort of interesting, like, kind of isolation-y vibe from this reading. It's the 10 of Swords and it's the devil. Like, I almost feel like Libra, I don't know where y'all have been in the last year, because I do these readings every month, and I don't really, once I do each sign, I kind of let it go because I don't want to bring it into the next reading, right? So I don't know what I've been telling the Libras for the last year, and I don't know the type of 2020 you guys have been experiencing, but I feel like it's maybe had longer lasting psyche effects on your psyche than maybe even you realize. And although we're thinking like, oh God, here comes 2020, 2021, thank God, a new year, everything's going to be okay. It may not, in the sense that, well, that came out wrong. It will be okay, but what I mean is it's not going to be the year that's going to change you. It's going to be you that's going to change you in this year. Does that make sense? So the work that's put in through some adversity that you have to experience this year, or that you have to face, some being of your own doing and some not, right? Some being outside of your control. It's going to force you to sort of address some of the things that maybe you've let go in, say, maybe this last year, due to the state of the world, the state of the pandemic. Like, maybe we can't necessarily address how we've been feeling, or we've been acting out in sort of strange ways, that we thought like, oh, well, this is just temporary until life gets back to normal. Well, as our life starts to get back to normal, we actually find that there's bigger challenges, or things have maybe taken hold in ways that we didn't really maybe expect or see. Okay. And then the other thing I'll say about this is, excuse me, all this Pentacles energy, even the Cups energy, the 5 and the 4 and the 6, I feel like I need to say this. Maybe I need to say this only for one specific Libra that's going to watch this, but your intentions are good. And I feel like, I don't know why I want to say this, but I feel like everything that's in these cards, you deserve. And I mean that, like, not the negative stuff. I'm talking about like the King of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, and even the emotional healing that I see that sort of takes place in the 5 and the 4 through those months. that gets you to that 6 of Cups and that 10 of Pentacles at the end of the year. You deserve all of this good stuff. I just kind of feel like I don't know if my Libras know that they deserve it. That's this 9 and 10 of Swords. And then experiences like the Death card come up, where it's outside of our control, but like it's like another smack in the face maybe, or another letdown. And maybe Libras suffered a couple of letdowns in 2020 that, again, were outside of your control. But I just want to say, like, sometimes life isn't fair or doesn't give us exactly what we think we need or what we want. And so maybe you guys have been dealing with that a little bit and you've lost sight of the fact that you still deserve good things. And I look at these King of Pentacles and I just feel this earnestness coming from them. Like these Pentacles cards, even the earnestness that I feel in these, the 5 and 4, I feel like if my Libras are struggling, right? If you guys are wrestling, and I mean struggling like wrestling with yourselves in some way, shape, or form, and then also dealing with what's going on in the outside world and maybe getting hit there too a little bit, don't give up is my feeling with this reading. And I also definitely feel that with the 10 of Pentacles at the end of this reading. There's also bright points. I don't want to, excuse me, I don't want to give you, I don't want to leave you guys with a message that sort of feels bleak, right? I see bright points throughout this. Feel like that wheel could go either way in January. It's really about, like, I know we've had a rough 2020, but Libra, leave all and any negativity, anger, frustration that you can in 2020, dear. Like, leave it there and look to the positive. That's the importance of that wheel in January, because it feels like there's a little bit of a roller coaster ride. This reading, I will give you this. This reading didn't seem as powerful sort of as Virgo. Virgo's was like a bunch of major arcana craziness, but this feels more like quietly personal, if that makes sense. And so that Wheel of Fortune is key in January because it sort of sets the tone for the rest of the year. And the tone of the rest of the year is a little bit up, a little bit down. It's a little roller coastery. I love the King of Pentacles. I feel like that's calm, cool, collected, full of possibility and hope. Death, like I said, it's going to be an experience that happens outside of us. We don't have control over. The sooner and the more gracious we are throughout that month, and we roll with the punches and just let things happen and know that they're not about us, the better off we're going to be. 3 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, both great months. Those things look really, really good to me. And then we get into that 10 of Swords energy, and then the 5 and the 4, which is all about sort of working our way through whatever's going on within us mentally and emotionally. But I really feel like that's the work that needs to take place for you guys to get whatever you put into your wheel back in January. And I also have to say this because that 9 shows up and then the Devil shows up, and I feel like there is this really big gift that you guys are working towards. That could be the 10 of Pentacles. I'm not saying it will all show up in the month of December, but it begins to show up in the month of December and may show up into 2022. And that's also the earnestness. Like, I don't know why I keep harping on this, but I feel this real genuine desire for things to be better in these cards. It almost makes me a little bit emotional. So I just want to acknowledge that, and I want to acknowledge the beauty and the purity of that, and say that if this is speaking to any of you that are out there watching, you deserve this. Keep at it, stick with it, set the tone in January, you know, be real sort of maybe even pragmatic and positive about what you're doing in January and even in February. And again, all of these cards have room for change, and one card can't describe and decipher an entire month. So even though we see the Devil in November, right? I'm just using that card as an example. It doesn't mean all of November is going to be shit. It just means that November could be challenging in a rather large way. It could require us to face some things that we maybe otherwise have not wanted to. And it could also be something that we are able to, through doing the work and being challenged, create an extreme amount of freedom for ourselves. That's the 10 of Pentacles that follows. So will my Libras be successful ultimately? I believe so. But we have to like go into January believing in that success, the success that resides within us, and put that in our wheel. And then allow it to spin, be patient, and roll with everything as it comes. That's your reading, Libra. I hope that wasn't too weird, but that's your reading for 2021. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If it made sense, please send me a comment or a question. If it's something private that you don't want to leave publicly on the YouTube channel or whatever, that's totally fine. You can go over to Facebook and message me privately. If say one of you has watched this and you're like, oh my God, that didn't make sense, but you don't necessarily want people to know your business, feel free to message me directly and just say, hey, I watched the Libra reading and I could understand what you're talking about. Because I just want to, like, whoever this is for, or, if it's for a few of you, I don't know, but whoever it's for, I just feel like you guys really deserve this, in the sense that I just don't want you guys to, I don't know, like lose hope in some way. And I think maybe my feeling is looking at this is that you might already have lost hope this year just because this year was so hard. All right, so that is your, and I mean this year 2020, guys, not 2021. So that is your forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to share this with whoever you see fit, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.